Hello guys, welcome to my channel. V4 changes are finally out, finally properly translated and all that stuff, so let's talk about them. How is Sid looking like right now, also Orphie, and also I'm sure a lot of you guys want to know how is Sanby gonna perform now with Orphie after all of these changes and stuff. So let's begin first with Orphie Changes. So Orphie did receive also some multiplier changes. Feel free to pause the screen if you want to read it in more detail. They specifically changed her special attack multipliers, which at first glance you might panic and you might think, oh, it's a big nerf or something like that. But when we see rest of her changes, I would say it's going to be pretty good. So let's begin with her core passive change. When an agent with zeroed in triggers aftershock, zeroed in specifically is whenever you consume 100 hit stacks from Orphie by holding her X or ultimate. Their zeroed in effect will be extended by 4 seconds up to maximum of 20 seconds. So first of all, you'll have a better uptime of this core passive. Looks like she'll be able to maintain it on her own now, which seems pretty good. Also the additional ability, now agents with zeroed in will have their aftershock damage ignore by 25% defense instead of 15. I would say this is pretty huge. And also now X special attack will restore once again 20 points of hit, which is very nice because it makes her more self-sufficient. And I could also see some arguments again potentially of some Orphie lighter Astra. There were already showcases of this stuff prior before, and now potentially we might see this stuff again, which would be very interesting, especially if you only want to play Orphie as your main solo DPS with the support and stunners. As for synergy with Orphie and Sid, we have some extra information about that as well, but I'll go talk about Sid changes first before I go over that stuff. Now let's go over Sid changes, but before that I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you'd like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. Smile. So now let's finally talk about Sid changes. She also did receive some multipliers. Feel free to pause the screen if you want to read them in more detail. As you can see with these pictures, she did receive some nerfs on her X special attack and a bit on her basic attack, I guess, but they did buff the rest of the stuff. Now you can look at that ultimate damage multiplier. I believe it's the highest one we have in the game so far. It definitely is gonna hit very hard if you like big numbers to the screen. So that's interesting. But of course there are also more changes to Sid. Her core ability now specifically specifies that onslaught, direct strike and besiege effects will work when the character is currently active and remains active when switched to inactive until the character exits or 3 seconds after the effect maintains. That means that actual off-field characters will not be able to take advantage of those buffs. Specifically what onslaught, direct strike, besiege is, it's that 1000 attack buff, 30% critical damage, which is for Sid, and also the partner does get that attack boost and critical damage as well. And if both of them have the buff, you get the besiege, which is 30% damage increase. And this buff no longer, at least now it's specified that it's not gonna work if the agent is off field for more than 3 seconds. So this could be a potential concern between Orphie and Sid synergy, but we do have some further clarifications about that stuff, so we'll go into that very soon. But now let's go over her additional ability. Part of her core passive went now to the additional ability. As a reminder, additional ability requires an attack agent, only attack agent, to specifically activate it. And also now Sid attacks such as Falling Flower, Heavy Strike, Crush Strike, and the new now Clockwork Garden Bloom deals 30% increased damage and ignores 25% of enemy res. Do know that the Bloom one is her ultimate. It's definitely gonna do a lot of damage. Big damage per screenshot stuff right there. And also now her ultimate no longer provides 50% damage boost for 20 seconds. However, you still restore 60 steel charge, which is her own passive system thingy. But before I go over clarifications on Orphie and Seed synergy, I guess we can also have a quick TLDR of both these character changes. Effectively now Seed buffs the attack, critical damage and damage boost will only apply to active character, and after 3 seconds that the character is switched off. So for 3 seconds off field the character still gets the buff. That's about it. I wish honestly Caesar had this functionality with her shield attack buff, because with Caesar the moment you swap off you lose the attack boost. I wish she had this design. Who knows, maybe it gets some time in the future changed. Copium, I know, but hey, it is what it is. As for her enhanced basics and ultimate, also the percent damage increase. Ultimate damage boost has been removed. As for Orphie and Magus, the attack buff she provided has been extended to 20 seconds, up to 20 seconds that is. Agents with 0 DN aftershock damage ignore 25% of defense instead of 15. I would say this is a pretty noticeable deal. It's definitely gonna synergize really well with Trigger, Signature V Engine as well. Do note it is quite expensive to get all of these characters and their signatures, but if you're able to do it, it's gonna do quite a lot of damage. And also now X special attack does give 20 points of bottle hit, which I would say it's very good because her uptime is definitely gonna be stronger. Also, just as a heads up, I believe her kit doesn't tell you that she has a 5-second cooldown for her off-field special attack and X special attack stuff. However, based on players testing within the beta, it seems it still has this 5-second shared cooldown. And now let's go over through the entirety of clarifications on Orphie and Seed synergy. Like already mentioned, Orphie still has that 5-second shared cooldown. Also, there is an interesting clarification regarding Seed buffs. The status itself will persist 40 seconds after using X special attack. However, the buff will not be activated when the character is off field past 3 seconds. So like you remove the effect, but you keep the status. Interesting, I guess. Also, Orphie is not considered active during special attack Flash of Corrosion and X special attack Crimson Vortex. Thus, the X special attack does not give Seed Steel Charge or get Seed Direct Strike and Besiege buff. Honestly, I think this is potentially quite noticeable for their synergy. However, you still do have that 3-second lingering buff duration, so I guess that could help. And also abilities such as X special attack hit charge will keep Seed buff throughout the animation. Okay, that's all right. And there seems to be no 3-second lingering buff on onslaught, direct strike, and besiege, and only lingers when the agent is visible. Wait, what? Okay, that's kinda... That is kinda weird, actually. But overall, it seems that the synergy still works well, but these do impact Seed mechanics. I mean, as long as it's smooth to play, it should be fine. I'm sure there's gonna be some showcases and stuff. I'll definitely take a look at it over on my stream. Feel free to drop by. Daily streams, by the way. Smile. We also have a nice turn breakdown. So special attack, Flash of Corrosion, X special attack, Crimson Vortex, Orphie off field aftershocks. Onslaught, Direct Strike, and BCGs are the buffs from Seed, just if you are being confused a bit. As for Seed synergy with Sanby, I'm not certain how that's gonna play out, but Orphie Sanby, I believe it seems to be decent. Aftershock damage, ignoring 25% buff, it's still there. That should benefit Sanby. So I believe Sanby Orphie is probably gonna be something that's gonna work well with Trigger. However, I would not be surprised that Seed Orphie variation is gonna be stronger than Sanby's one, and that's why I would probably not recommend pulling Sanby on a rerun. But if you already happen to have it, I mean, might as well use it, right? I guess. We also do have some extra information, such as Seed V Engine changes. As you can see here, now her V Engine is even stronger than before. It already provides 39% critical rate, and I guess they reduced electric damage buff by a bit, by 5% specifically. The stack duration buff has been increased from 30 seconds to 40, so it's super easy to maintain it. And most importantly, the enemy defense ignored with ultimate and basic attacks has been increased. So basically, this is one of the strongest V engines in the game. And if you're serious about getting Seed, you definitely will want this V engine if you want her to pop off and be really strong, at least hopefully for a very long time. This V engine will also synergize really well with Trigger V engine, which also provides defense, shred, and all that stuff. So you're gonna get quite a lot out of this one. They also have, unfortunately, nerfed the drive disc set bonus. Specifically, the basic attack damage has been reduced from 25% to 20%. I'm not a big fan of these sets being nerfed because the content itself is getting increased HP. Yes, even 2.2 Deadly Assault is getting HP inflation, unfortunately. And on top of that, they're also increasing anomaly build-up rate on all bosses by 10% in Deadly Assault for 2.2 patch, subject to change. My quick thoughts on this: if they keep increasing the HP of the content, they should definitely keep giving us strong drive disc set bonuses and all that stuff to make up more for it. And nerfing the drive disc set bonuses, I don't think it's good. They also did some new changes to the new Deadly Assault boss that we're gonna get, specifically its stage buffs. This boss is gonna be very anti-anomaly teams. You can already see in the bottom, attribute anomaly damage is reduced by 25%. This boss will definitely promote attack-based teams. They did remove the aftershock damage buff, but they just keep the attack-based stuff. So effectively, if you have a super heavy anomaly account, I sure hope you prepared your account to have some attack teams ready for this type of situations. So yeah, this is pretty much it for V4 Changes. If you have any questions or like to add anything yourself, feel free to write within the comments down below. I wish you a wonderful day, guys, and see you in the next video. Ciao!